Karun is a world generally warmer and more arid than our planet. Even the planet's southern polar continent, Aishania, is closer to a climate comparable to Scandinavia below the polar circle on Earth. Instead of being a vast icy wasteland like Antarctica, its summers are fairly temperate, enabling the growth of vast forests, at least in regions close to the coast. After the connection between Arum and the Masuk Peninsula was cut off around 10 million years ago, conditions on Aishania have remained tolerable for a number of species, tracing their ancestry back to Arum. One such lineage were the Ferronychids, a family of dromaeosuchoid Aurisuchians, an order of archosaurs which are the highly derived descendants of Triassic rauisuchids. In my first video covering the Aurisuchian order, I discussed the 3 Ferronychid species native to Karun's largest landmass. But as you may have realized, these 3, the Makun, steppe Makun and Nachitaran, while widespread and successful, only play a subordinate role. These are small mesopredatory Aurisuchians. On Aishania, this is an entirely different story. Today we are going to take a look at the 6 Ferronychid species inhabiting this world of vast forests, rough coastlines, open tundra, and cold dark winters, introducing the Ferronychids of the winter realm Aishania. Aishania offers a 6 species of Ferronychid, with one of them containing 2 distinct subspecies. Of course, Ferronychids aren't the only Aurisuchians found on this continent. The coastlines are populated by different species of pinnasuchid or seal crocs. Pinnasuchids are a group of marine styracosuchoids with a lifestyle similar to that of Earth's pinnipeds. But like the pseudosuchians, the second family of marine Aurisuchians, I want to cover these animals in their own video. This means our focus will be on the Ferronychids for today, which in some regions of Aishania took the spot of apex predator. They possess a number of features that clearly make them stand out among other Aurisuchians. The most obvious difference probably is their fur. While it is not exactly the same in composition as mammalian fur, it evolved a very similar structure independently. All Ferronychids possess it, allowing these smaller, lightly built endothermic animals to keep warm during the colder winters in southern Arum, where they originated from. This appears to have offered them an advantage on Aishania, with some even growing a winter coat during the colder months, although this trait varies from species to species. Long tufts of hair make the ears stand out more clearly, likely serving communication purposes. Another characteristic unique to Ferronychids are their 4-fingered hands with opposable thumbs. Early Aurisuchians had 4-fingered hands, and while they lost this trait over time, it appeared once again in Ferronychids. Ferronychids also possess venom, which is especially potent in the smaller species. Their venom is produced in 3 pairs of venom glands, 2 located in their bottom jaw, where the venom is distributed through channels between their teeth, and another pair further down the throat, serving as a backup reserve. Like in monitor lizards, the venom mixes with the saliva. Ferronychid venom consists of neurotoxins and hemotoxins. The neurotoxins act as a paralytic, slowing down prey and compromising its ability to breathe, as it paralyzes the required musculature. At the same time, the anticoagulant hemotoxins prevent blood from clotting, leading to increased blood loss and shock. This also allows the Ferronychid to track down an escaped prey animal. Ferronychids are highly intelligent, possessing relatively large brains compared to other Aurisuchians. To prevent compromising space for jaw muscles, and with that the bite force, too much, their brains are also very neuron dense. Ferronychids are socially complex. The complexity of their social structures varies from species to species, but overall, they all form strong bonds with their companions, and in some cases even humans. Communication between Ferronychids can be quite complex, and they do communicate about things outside their field of view. At least one genus even possesses a sort of complex language. The name Ferronychidae refers to the iron deposits that are the cause of the reddish color of their claws and teeth. Ferronychids incorporate substantial quantities of iron into their tooth enamel and claw keratin, significantly reinforcing these structures and keeping the edges sharp. Their teeth are blade-like and serrated, and they also possess a set of deeply rooted fangs for gripping. Once a ferronychid gets a hold of its prey, it tries to hold on, with the prey struggling only causing much deeper wounds, as the ferronychid's serrated teeth rend through tissue, while the venom quickly weakens their victim. Ferronychid attacks are quite messy, and these Aurisuchians tend to deliberately consume a lot of blood in order to cover their demands for iron, so bleeding their prey out comes with a secondary benefit. With the extremely sharp hooked claws, the ferronychid disembowels its prey and reaches for the prized internal organs. Ferronychids produce a wide range of vocalizations for communication purposes, and some species can even mimic sound to a certain degree. Like their cousins, the neopseudosuchians, ferronychids are cursorial and can reach astonishing speed. They are lightly built, with pneumatized skeletons and a complex network of air sacs. Furthermore, most of them possess relatively long legs compared to their bodies. This and the digitigrade locomotion, with long partially fused metatarsals, allows for considerable stride length. Ferronychids can cover long distances in a comparatively short time, often running their prey to exhaustion. The Masuk Peninsula, which is separated from the rest of the continent by tall mountain ranges, reaches far north into the temperate zone and is therefore warmer than the rest of Aishania. Dominated by grasslands and mixed forest, this region is home to the largest ferronychid alive, the iron-clawed butcher, Ferronychus carnifex, the namesake of its family. The Masuk call the animal Urunat, blood claw, referring to its reddish iron-infused claws. At 10.5 meters long, and with a hip height of almost 3.5 meters, it comes close to the dimensions of most large theropods on Earth. Like all ferronychids, it is a rather lightly built, long-legged predator and weighs less than 4 tons. With a bird-like respiratory system, it is not only proportionally light, but also possesses great endurance. The osteoderms of ferronychids became tiny and subdermal, forming lightweight armor in more vulnerable areas. The Urunat possesses a fairly simple golden yellow coat and a dark brown quilled mane running down its back. All ferronychids possess such a mane, made from flexible articulated quills, mainly serving communication purposes. Typical for ferronychid sexual dimorphism, males possess 2 lateral stripes on each flank, while females have a pattern of vertical stripes running down their backs. This way they can be easily distinguished. Urunat live in small family units. Their parents are mated for life and raise their young together. Urunat are strictly monogamous and form very deep bonds with their partners. If one of them dies, the other one is likely to never search for a mate again. The juveniles stay with the parents for varying amounts of time. The oldest female offspring might even stay with the original pair as long as they are alive. Otherwise, the parents and related offspring are in many cases reported to keep contact with one another. Ferronychus isn't the largest predator found on the Masuk Peninsula. This role belongs to the Coegiteran, a large neodromeosaur megatheropod. But Urunat are quite prolific at stealing their kills thanks to their numbers. To avoid competition, Coegiteran are more abundant in the forests, while the more cursorial Urunat rules the open prairies. In the Masuk Empire, Urunat are regarded as a symbol of strength and bravery and even made their way onto the empire's banners. Unlike the Makun, Urunat were never truly domesticated, simply because of the costs being too great, but centuries ago, the Masuk began to tame a number of individuals, creating a small population of Urunat showing early signs of domestication. When raised from a young age, Urunat actually recognize their handlers as companions rather than prey. Once this bond is established, an Urunat also knows it can trust other humans when their handler does so as well. The curious and playful nature of these intelligent animals and their willingness to learn is utilized to teach them a great variety of commands. Urunat have been used in battle, but that was a rare occurrence and they were only used by high-ranking personnel. The war raccoon is a lot more common in military for obvious reasons, since it is a breed of domestic raccoon specifically created for the task. But through the colonization of southeastern Arum, the peoples of this area also got to know the Aishanian Urunat. Among many of them, though, they are rather seen as a symbol of terror, since the colonizers, who often tried to eradicate their cultures by violence, depicted these animals on their banners. In the Masuk Empire, tamed Urunat are often kept by high-ranking nobles to show off their status. The Masuk Emperor himself keeps a female Urunat that was gifted to him as a juvenile by his father for his 20th birthday. Hadrosaur hunting with an Urunat is a popular luxurious sport among rich nobles. Furthermore, Urunat often appear on military parades. Because of their status in Masuk culture, and because they are a luxury only a handful of people can afford, seeing one in action is a huge spectacle to the general public. A darker aspect of the Urunat's reputation is that they became quite popular in public executions and have been trained to systematically tear apart their victims with astonishing precision for such a large animal. While the Masuk mostly are on good terms with the Urunat, the same can't be said for the next Ferronychid we encounter further south, where the Masuk Peninsula meets the rest of Aishania. The mountain demon, Aotach. The genus Hymus bellator is divided into two species. H. sylvestris can also be divided into two subspecies, H. sylvestris aotach, the Masuk Aotach, and H. sylvestris littoris, the coastal Aotach. The most significant one to the Masuk certainly is the former. The Aotach is a rather small Aurisuchian at just 800 kilograms in weight, but in Aishania it is on the larger end of predatory species. What makes the species feared isn't its size, though. It is the Aotach's social complexity and uncanny intelligence. Aotach are considered the most intelligent Aurisuchians, with some stating they possess near human-level intelligence. With our understanding of intelligence, the Aotach can certainly be listed among Karun's most intelligent life forms. Aotach live in clans led by a dominant pair of male and female. The core structure of the clan is formed by related females and their offspring. Males join as outsiders, leaving the clan they were born in. The male that has stayed with the clan for the longest is usually the dominant one and the only one to reproduce with the dominant cow. When the group becomes too big, some individuals will wander off to join another clan in case they're tolerated or search for a partner to eventually establish their own family. In less competitive regions, larger clans can be composed of several families following a fission fusion dynamic. Aotach clans are quite sophisticated in organization, with members being assigned different tasks like hunting, patrolling, or guarding. Juveniles are raised collectively by different females or males. Aotach communicate through a variety of vocalizations, mainly clicks, bellows, and howls, supported by a range of gestures which sometimes make their communication look uncannily human. Their communication is indeed so versatile and precise that it can be considered a fairly complex language. There can be stark regional differences akin to distinct dialects. Aotach are capable of tool use for certain tasks, however they still mostly rely on their natural weapons. To a certain degree, they can even mimic sounds to lure in prey. Aotach use complex pack hunting strategies and take advantage of their environment, chasing prey into ambush points or driving it down steep inclines and cliffs. Together they can overwhelm large prey, even the Yitakran, the largest herbivore of the region. Aotach often create arrangements of bones and other natural materials for seemingly no reason, suggesting they create some form of art. It also seems like they commemorate their ancestors, taking deceased clan members to a specific grave site performing simple funerals and returning even years later. Some Masuk scholars suggested that Aotach may possess a sort of religion or spirituality, though this will likely never be reliably verified. Haimis Bellator, meaning winter warrior, gets its name from this Aurisuchians' habit to engage in organized warfare over territory and resources with other clans in more competitive environments. In such altercations, they are quite merciless with driving away the members of the inferior clan and often killing many of their younger offspring. In the Aishanian taiga, the Aotach actually has outcompeted most larger predators through actively hunting them down in order to secure more resources for itself. The Aotach inhabits the highlands of the southern Masuk Peninsula, the montane forests and the coasts of Aishania. In their northern reaches, they encounter humans. While they are social with one another, they often react extremely hostile to human presence. This likely can be linked to past events that caused the clans to culturally transfer a certain disdain for humans. A less abstract reason might be found in the possibility that they simply view us as competition or even prey. Several attempts of hunting Aotach have ended in disaster, with the clan soldiers attacking the hunter's village in retaliation. Among the Masuk, Aotach are despised and even framed as cold-blooded and sadistic killers, as much as you can say that about an animal not operating under human morals. Although some of that may not even be too far-fetched, as with the Aotach's intelligence also comes a capacity for malevolence. The Emperor even wears an Aotach hide to demonstrate superiority over the species, but in reality, the locals simply do not engage with the Aotach, which so far enabled coexistence, as most of the Aotach's habitat isn't considered worth settling in. In many older Masuk myths, Aotach were viewed as the embodiment of evil spirits from the mountains, which is reflected in the word itself. Like already mentioned, the Aotach has a second subspecies in the coastal forests. The coastal Aotach can be distinguished from its cousin by its slightly longer legs in different coloration, as well as slight differences in their tooth configuration. It is often found in coastal environments and became quite prolific at fishing while wading through the shallows or ambushing the resting pseudosuchians that are sluggish on land. The genus Haimis Bellator contains a second distinct species, the montane Aotach. It is smaller than the Aotach itself and grows a denser coat, especially during the winter. The montane Aotach lives further up in the mountains, where trees are mostly replaced by alpine steppes and tundra. Since there is a lot less cover in these areas, the montane Aotach's size is reduced, which also allows them to traverse their mountainous environment more safely. Traveling further up the mountains, leaving behind the hardiest groups of trees forming the highest outskirts of the montane forests, we find another mountain-dwelling Ferronychid. The 3 meters long and 100 kilograms heavy mountain runner, Aolakan, is among the larger predators of these steep alpine steppes interrupted by rocky peaks and ravines. They share this role with dromaeosaur descendants, which are the most abundant theropods of the continent. Again, the Ferronychid still dominates in its territory thanks to its social structure. Aolakan form small packs which can contain several mated pairs following a fission-fusion dynamic, which often sees smaller groups temporarily forming a larger pack before dispersing again. Together they search for prey and take down their victims in coordinated hunts. In general, Ferronychids have quite astonishing leaping capabilities, thanks to the powerful musculature and tendons of their long hind limbs. With its exceptionally powerful legs, the Aolakan takes this leaping ability to an extreme, able to jump over 4 meters vertically. This not only allows him to get around many obstacles in the terrain, but is also employed in hunting. They often jump onto prey to knock it down and damage its spine or ribcage in the process. Additionally, the Aolakan's spine is much less rigid than that of other dromaeosuchoids. In comparison, they are slower, but they can survive much greater falls. Their prey includes a type of artiodactyl that might look like a hybrid of goat and cow, but actually belongs to its own Karunian subfamily of bovids. This animal is called Rul by the Telnak, an ethnic group of semi-nomadic tribes living in the mountains, keeping these mammals as livestock. This can lead to conflict with the Aolakan, which frequently hunts these bovids. This makes them feared among the herders, even though the Aurisuchian usually isn't out for them specifically. Usually it doesn't even bother with killing the humans, but it will get them out of its way. And an Aolakan knocking you over causes heavy injury nonetheless, so there are reports of men being killed by the sheer force of a 100 kg Aurisuchian crashing into them as they were standing in its way. The good thing is that these small Ferronychids aren't exactly the most durable Aurisuchians when it comes to piercing damage and can be reliably fended off or even killed with a well-placed arrow. To protect their herds, Telnak commonly keep domesticated dinosaurs or arctophilids. The Aolakan is among those Ferronychids that grow a winter coat, turning almost white to camouflage in snowy environments. During the short summers, their fur is of a more brownish-grayish color, allowing them to hide in the rocky environment. The tallest peaks of the Aishanian mountains reach more than 4,000 meters above sea level. Even here, Aolakan can be found searching for new territory. Like all Aurisuchians except for the pseudosuchians, Aolakan lay eggs, and with the short, not particularly warm summers in this region, these eggs need to be incubated by the female itself. Here the social nature of Ferronychids truly pays off. Every summer, female Aolakan lay a clutch of 3 to 5 eggs, and while they stay to incubate them, the other pack members go out hunting. Our final genus of Aishanian Ferronychid has to follow a similar reproductive strategy. Leaving the mountains and with them the Masuk Peninsula behind, we move closer to the South Pole, reaching the spirit tundra. Trees are now rare, and even though the planet is warmer than Earth overall, the winters are long and cold and snowfall is frequent. Additionally, the phenomenon of polar nights is no different than on Earth. The closer we come to the poles, the longer this dark time gets, and while no Aurisuchian reaches the South Pole, where the darkness lasts half a year, this subpolar Ferronychid is used to the sun not rising for weeks during winter and not setting during the summer. The reason this area is called the spirit tundra is because of these two Ferronychid species, the greater and the lesser snow spirit. These are comparatively small Aurisuchians, yet relatively stocky for a Ferronychid. At 8 meters long and weighing around 1.2 metric tons, the greater snow spirit is the second largest species of Ferronychid. Its cousin is a lot smaller at just 4 meters in length and 300 kilograms in weight. For Ferronychids, both possess relatively small brain cases. Their brains are also less neuron dense. But although they are less intelligent than the great Urunat and nowhere near the astonishing intellect of the Aotach, they are no way to be underestimated. Snow spirits still are intelligent Aurisuchians. They just traded some space for a taller sagittal crest and more jaw muscle attachment points. Pound for pound, snow spirits possess the strongest bite of all Ferronychids. Their bodies are still fairly pneumatized, but not as much as in other dromaeosuchoids, in order to be less susceptible to the low temperatures. The greater snow spirit is the apex predator of the spirit tundra. It hunts large herbivores of the area, including some derived hypsilophodonts and Aishanian reindeer that, like their Earth counterparts do, provide a major food source for the nomadic peoples living in this area. Snow spirits are also often found in the mythology of these tribes. In some cases, they are regarded as demons, bringing cold and darkness once they change their color to white. In other cases, they are said to facilitate a cycle of renewal once they bring winter. Like the Aolakan, snow spirits grow a winter coat with insulating underwool, protecting them against the cold, and white coloration for camouflage, while their fur is brownish-greenish during the summer months. Greater snow spirits are the least social out of the Ferronychids. They do live in pairs, are monogamous and raise their young, but that's it. They do not form any larger familial packs. Their offspring grow faster than those of other Ferronychids, and after 2 years they disperse. Unlike an Urunat, for example, a greater snow spirit also will look for another mate again should they lose their partner. Nevertheless, snow spirits are highly coordinated in hunts, with both partners working together to take down prey. People from the Aishanian tribes are wary of snow spirits, since they do consider humans as prey. They sometimes sneak up on hunting parties unnoticed and pick off a few members before disappearing. Especially in conditions with low visibility and at night, they are a feared threat. Then you will likely not even hear your companion being taken by the snow spirit. This Aurisuchian is smart enough to dispatch a human before they even can make themselves go noticed, while the creature vanishes back into nothingness. Some Aurisuchians, like snow spirits and Aotach, sometimes hunt small game that is easy to grab and dispatch, decapitating their victim to make it bleed out in order to consume its blood and back up the iron deposits. As already mentioned, there is a second species of Niver spiritus. The lesser snow spirit is found in a region called the seal fjords of Aishania. Not because of true seals, but because of the abundant seal crocs or pseudosuchians in this area, for example the common fjord croc Hydrosuchus. Lesser snow spirits are more socially complex than their larger cousin and follow a social dynamic similar to that of the Aolakan. Pseudosuchians are among the main prey of these Aurisuchians and especially sought after because of their energy-rich blubber. This leads to most of the confrontations between lesser snow spirits and humans. Lesser snow spirits are surprisingly capable swimmers, even possessing slight webbing between their toes. Its larger relative also does, but in greater snow spirits, its main purpose is preventing them from sinking into the snow. Its swimming ability aids the lesser snow spirit in crossing the many channels in its environment. Like the greater snow spirit, they too grow a white winter coat. And that were all the terrestrial Aurisuchians of Aishania. Since I created the first concepts of what would eventually become the Aurisuchians years ago, Ferronychids have always been among my personal favorites. I honestly didn't plan to make this video so long, but well, since there were only 6 species this time, I wanted to take the opportunity and go into detail. If you are following this project long enough, you might remember that in the beginning there were only Urunat and Aotach, but now I'm really happy with expanding this family of Aurisuchians, again showing how derived and strange pseudosuchians became on Karun. And in the next episode, we will continue with doing that, exploring the Aurisuchians of Prairie, Karun's second largest continent and home to the largest Aurisuchian, and by extent pseudosuchian, to ever exist. With that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time.